My name is Billy Polson from DIAKADI Fitness Performance Life in San Francisco. I've had lots of clients throughout the years, and especially recently, it must be because of the beach weather and people are going to be out on the beach, they want to learn how to do a handstand. So on goal sheets, I frequently have folks who ask, or have as a goal, I want to learn how to hold a handstand, or I also had a guy recently ask, I want to learn how to walk on my hands. So I have called in Polina Smith, who is our DIAKADI resident handstand expert, and she's from Wholebody Transformations. It's a whole body functional training practice. And I wanted to ask her advice on a couple of things. One, on how to start the practice, and then kind of how to progress from leaning against a wall to being freestanding to maybe even walking, right? So, thanks, Polina.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, tell me a little bit, how did you become the handstand expert that you are at DIAKADI for us?
Thanks for asking. So, 5 years ago, I moved to San Francisco because I wanted to learn how to hold a handstand. And I went
really? That's why you moved?
Yeah, that's exactly why I moved from the East Coast. I was living in Montreal.
Oh, you truly are the handstand.
I really wanted it. So I began studying at the San Francisco Circus Center, an amazing place. So I say this because I started learning handstand as an adult. I didn't do gymnastics or acrobatics as a kid. So it's totally possible to learn at any age.
That's great.
And it's really a joy and a gift to be able to share the art of learning handstands with others.
Cool. So Polina's taught a handstand class here at DIAKADI. So, and truly, I've seen her work with lots of different levels of folks. And it really is something that I feel like if you follow the correct progression, it's something that anyone could be able to try and master, hopefully. So, okay, so a very beginning person, they've never done a handstand before, where would you start the practice?
Okay, so a lot of people come in and they are terrified of doing a handstand because they're afraid that their arms will collapse underneath them and they'll fall on top of their head.
Gotcha.
I would say that for 95% of the people that I see, they are completely fit enough to hold themselves on their hands. They just need to learn to trust themselves.
Right.
So the process of learning to trust yourself when you're upside down, a great way to begin is to go ahead and place your hands hip shoulder width apart, and you're just going to gently hop from side to side. And you can start small just to get comfortable, and then as you feel more comfortable, see how high you can go, and even if you can pause for a moment when you're up there.
Okay, great. And again, that's just trying to strengthen physically as well as mentally.
Yes, exactly. Just because it's not often that we're upside down in our day-to-day.
Definitely. And I would assume that would also point out if someone does have any weakness in their shoulders, that they need to do more strengthening. Or...
Yes, yes. And push-ups, either push-ups on the floor or push-ups against a bar, are a great way to begin strengthening that area.
Perfect.
For handstands.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so we get comfortable with the hands, and then
Yes.
what's your next progression?
So then I would take them to a wall.
Okay.
And again, this can be a bit scary for people, but once they overcome this hurdle, it's smooth sailing from here.
Okay.
So I would tell them to stand with their hips square to the wall, place one foot in front of the other, and then they're just going to gently come up to the wall, tap it, and come back down.
Okay.
Sometimes this is really challenging for people to get all the way up at first, so I just tell them go up as high as you can. So maybe that's just a little bit, like,
Okay.
okay. And just do that 10 times in a row, because by the 10th time, generally, people are much more comfortable and can make it up to the wall.
Okay, perfect.
So once they're there, and that they've been able to tap to the wall and tap back down, we would move into holds.
Okay.
So this is a great way to also just strengthen your shoulders. But what you would do is come to the wall like we were just doing, and then just stop yourself there. And here you want to think about squeezing your glutes and tucking your hips under.
Okay.
And once you feel solid doing this, you can go ahead and take one foot away, maybe bring it back, take the other foot away, maybe just try to find a balance for a moment, come back.
Okay, great. And if someone, they literally just cannot get up on the wall, is it something you could have a friend or someone you trust, they work with you?
Yes, totally. So one thing that is great to do is just have another person physically there to support you and spot you. That's helpful to know that you won't fall. Also, what we can do is, if you're comfortable, Billy, I'm not going to go all the way up, and you will take my leg and gently bring it to the wall.
Perfect, yeah.
Okay.
Cool, so you just like spot it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna try to not go all the way up. And just bring me there.
Perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. And that's
I'm a former gymnastics.
I can tell.
Okay, cool. So the spotter is always just, again, for physical as well as mental confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great. So we've gotten, yeah.
So we're there, we're at the hold. Great to start with a 10-second hold. Once that feels comfortable, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, progressing up to a minute.
Cool.
And then we
and
want...
one quick question on that. How would you incorporate this into your workout? Would you do it every day, like as a morning practice or like a daily practice?
I would say that standing on your hands is a great daily practice.
Okay.
I would definitely keep tuning into your body, how it's feeling, because sometimes, especially if people haven't done a lot of shoulder work, it can be too intense on the shoulders.
Okay.
And therefore, I would space it out every other day.
Perfect.
And just make sure you're doing good stretching in between.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So once you're comfortable with the hold that way, we're going to turn it around and we're going to go ahead and walk our feet up the wall. So your hands are going to be shoulder width apart and you're going to just bit by bit until you basically have your nose at the wall. You want to make sure you're not collapsing in your shoulders but really pushing up and out.
Okay.
And pull your belly button in and squeeze your glutes. And we're just going to hang out here again, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, up to a minute.
Perfect.
And you can take your feet away too, just to get comfortable with that.
Okay, great. And what's the difference between those two holds?
Okay, so in the first one, when we kick our feet up like that, you'll notice that our back has to automatically go into what I call a banana.
Okay.
And we lose the engagement of our core. That's just what's going to happen to get our feet to the wall. When we're in a handstand free holding away from the wall, we want to make sure that our core is engaged and our hips are tucked under. So this handstand, having your nose at the wall, will teach your body to be in that kind of alignment.
Got it. Okay, cool. And so one of the questions, even for myself, when I'm holding a handstand, your cue is to think about lifting up?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, lifting up, squeeze the glutes, and lengthen through the spine.
Okay, great. Awesome. All right, so we've inverted and walked up.
Yes.
Then slowly, like feet off, toes off. Any practice in terms of kind of learning how to hold it away from the wall? Like, and then where do you, that's the big jump, right?
Right, huge jump. So my acrobatics teacher told me that learning to stand on our hands is very similar to a baby learning to stand on their own 2 feet. So it takes a lot of practice and it takes a lot of stumbling and falling over and to just learn to enjoy that process.
Okay.
And he also told me to think of our hands as our feet. So if we notice if I start to lose my balance, I will rock forward or backwards.
Okay.
So we want to do the same thing with our hands. And the fingers are very important for that. So what was very helpful for me to begin to sense into my hands and into my fingers was, again, placing my hands shoulder width apart and then walking till I'm about a little more than a 90-degree angle. Then I'm going to bring my knuckles up and I'm going to lift one foot and I'm just going to tap away from the wall and try to sense into my hands. Tap and sense into my hands.
Gotcha.
And it's really, the movement here is largely being controlled by this motion.
Okay, great. And you're just practicing that forward reverse rock?
Yes.
Okay, great. That
Yes.
makes sense. For strengthening as well as just comfort.
Definitely,
Okay.
definitely. That's a good thing to add. A lot of times when people first start, their wrists can feel a bit funky.
Oh, okay.
And so honestly, the best way to strengthen your wrist is just to keep doing it.
Right.
And of course, if you start to feel a lot of pain or discomfort, then just ease off and don't do it as frequently.
Okay, so we've gotten to the point that we've walked up, we're slowly edging off. How do we get rid of this big guy?
Yes.
Like the big giant step away from the wall?
The $1 million question.
Exactly.
A lot of practice, and I'll show some exercises that will help with that practice.
Okay, great.
So I like to start by bringing my legs into a split position, because this way we can use our legs like a seesaw. So it's a bit easier to balance. If you start to go out of balance, you can rock your leg forward or backwards.
Okay, cool.
So how you can do that is you come into a split, and then come back down. And you don't even need to hold it for a long period of time, and then come down, come back down, excuse me. And you might not even go all the way up. it might just be small at first.
Okay, great.
But just to keep doing that over and over again.
Okay.
And then honestly, just practicing. Just practicing, kicking up, bringing your legs together, and coming down.
Okay.
Every day.
Yeah.
For a long time.
And if you do start to feel yourself going over,
yes.
the easiest way to get out of that?
You know, it's very rare that people will flip over into a back bend unless their back is very, very flexible.
Okay.
Our bodies have this amazing way of protecting themselves. So what most people will find is that they'll fall sideways like that.
Okay,
and
great.
to just trust yourself that your body knows how to fall and that it will fall in a good way.
Okay, cool. Well, especially after doing so much wall work,
yeah.
you'd slowly become much more used to being in that position.
Totally. Yeah, I see when people first start, the falls are a little bit dramatic,
okay.
But after a couple days, they have a good sense of it and it's gentle.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, so you have your work cut out for you. So again, Polina Smith, and there's a link to her website attached to this blog and this video. So if you have any further questions or you want any more help, feel free to email Polina directly or us at DIAKADI. Thanks so much, Polina.
Thank you, Billy.
All right, good luck, you guys.